Hello, everyone. This is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love, and thank you for being in Soul Talk. Today, we have a friend of mine. Her name is Noemi Beres, and let me tell you a little bit about who she is, but she's going to explain us way more. Noemi Beres is an entrepreneur, artist, and a creator of silent thinking sessions, a calm judgment for a free space for people to pause, reflect, and reconnect with their thoughts. This is not a therapy, not coaching, and not meditation. It is a concept of designing to offer quiet support in a noisy world. But she's going to explain us a little bit more. And she also, before I move on, Noemi also connects people in the podcast connection. So in case you're interested to book appointments with podcasters like me, she's those connections. Noemi, thank you so much for coming again to my show to Soul Talk. I really
Thank you
appreciate.
so much, Monica, for inviting me again. It's such an honor to be here and share the, space with you and the mic with you.
Tell me what are you doing because it sounds very, very interesting, that part of the power of silent thinking.
Yes, I do a lot of things. Like I always come up with new things. And yes, you mentioned I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an artist, and I just came up with this new idea of the silent thinking sessions. And I am the silent thinking session space holder that I help people to basically reconnect with their thoughts in this very noisy world. It's not about clearing our mind like we do during meditation. It's bringing our thoughts back to us and bringing ourselves to our thoughts because as I mentioned, there's so much noise in the world, too many things that distract us. So we just need a space to think without talking, and we need someone that we can be with who holds the space for us while we're doing that. And it's a non-judgmental space where you get a support or from someone, and it's a wonderful way to just rediscover the power of silence in our lives because we don't have much silence going on right now.
For sure, there's too many noise, but uh, but it is very interesting how you're using this technique or this method that you're using for PTSD and depression. How do you use that? Because usually, in my experience, with working with clients, people wants to be heard, and
Yes.
so how does that work in
Yeah.
with modality that they're doing?
Yeah, yeah, in a traditional way, and it's always about talk therapy. Like wherever you go to a coach, to go to a therapist, and you have to talk about it. You have to go back to these memories deep down and relive these memories. And but the bad thing about this, I'm not saying like, I'm not a coach, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a medical professional, so I have to emphasize that. But there's proven records of that, like sharing your story over and over again, it can be very overwhelming, especially for people with trauma, with anxiety, with PTSD, and just coming back with these stories and just repeating over and over again, it is a lot for them to process. So sometimes all they need is just silent and someone to think with them, sit with them, and they have space and time that they can do this thinking. And the problem is that even with people like PTSD, depression, everything, you usually don't schedule time for thinking because there's so much noise, there's so much distraction in the world. And when you schedule time for something that you do it like intentionally, then you will do it. Like, and okay, so I schedule time 20 minutes today for just thinking through like maybe three things that I didn't have time to think it through. I mean, according to scientists, we have like 6,000 unique thoughts every day. That's a lot of things like going on in our head. But if we want to think through something in our life that is going on, something like deeper and just going deeper in something, we never do that because our thoughts is like, okay, I have to walk the dog, I have to check my phone, I have to do this, I have to do that. Yeah, these are our thoughts, but they're not systematically organized in our brain. So when we have time for that, like we, for example, if we specifically we focus on just like three thoughts that we want to go through, we usually don't do that because we don't have space and time for that, and we don't dedicate time for that. And like going back to my story, that I realized that like I have a problem with this because during the previous interview, I think I also mentioned that, but probably people like, who didn't listen to it, they don't know it, that I struggled with a lot of things. I lost my dad to cancer in 2019, then my grandma to an accident in 2019, then my lost my business because of the pandemic. And it was a lot going on in my life. So it was really hard to process everything. And then I started a new business from scratch and building up everything in the past 5 years. Everything just Zoom calls, meetings. You're trying to be a mom. You're trying to be an entrepreneur. It was a lot going on in my life. Excuse me. And I never had time to basically just sit down and think things through. So it was wild. And then something, changed in me because first time ever in my life, I visited the US in May this year, and I was on a hiking trip, and just being in nature, just feeling that the amazing silence of nature just really helped me to focus on myself, on my thoughts without any kind of distractions. So when I got back to Cyprus and I was sitting down, and I need to find some kind of purpose, the way I want to help people and serve people, and not just in the podcasting world, but somehow deeper. And that was always inside of me. And then because I had the space and time again, because of the calmness or the forest in North Carolina, I brought them back with me, and I came up with the idea of the silent thinking sessions. Because if I have a problem with this, that I don't have time for this, other people might struggle with it too. So yeah, that's how it all started.
Wow, that is so true. We don't make time, enough time to meditate or meditate for analyze certain thoughts or certain emotions. The ones that they are having the show is actually our ego, that is the one that is infiltrating in our thoughts and in our emotions. And we don't have many time to actually analyze it, like, wait, my ego is telling this, but in reality I want to do this. And that part of discernment, it is very, very important. So we can make more assertive moves or whatever we want to do to
Yeah.
move forward in our life. And that is very, very, very interesting how you're approaching it. And I'm seeing here also that you have the holding space versus giving advice.
Yeah.
And I always have said about this that when people give an advice, it is not an order.
Yeah.
That's a very different because people take it, oh, I give you already the advice. Like, yes, but the advice I can take it, throw it, or use it.
Yes.
And it's not an order. And that's where people get confused a lot of the times when they're holding the space and at the same time giving an advice. Because sometimes it can get confused in an order. Or what do you refer about between what is the difference between a holding space and giving an advice?
Yeah, because nowadays it's like the whole world is about fixing, like quick fix, and we want to always fix something or someone. So if someone struggles with like something serious, we always want to we jump in and we want to fix that person, and that doesn't work, especially if people struggles with something deeper, and so the real support actually starts when we're trying to listen to someone, not interrupt, not try to solve their problem, not try to fix their problem, but just be there for them, just hold the space for them. And that leaves and helps people to process everything on their own way. So we don't push them, because when you push them, it just that never work. That never works. So it's really important, like, let's stop fixing things and start to listen more. And I remember to my late dad that I was told a lot of people that I'm a good listener, and thanks to my late dad, I think he was a great listener too. All of my girlfriends loved him because he was a great listener. So somehow I became a great listener too, and holding space for people and just listening, like actively listening, like you are fully present. And I think that's the key word, like being fully present and listen, not just like, listening and scrolling on your phone. Like, yeah, yeah, of course. No, now you are fully present and to listen to someone. Because when you try to fix someone, it really feels that you don't trust them. And that's a problem. And it creates always a problem. And on the other hand, silent support, it really shows the respect for their inner strength. I think that's the biggest difference between the two.
Hmm. Have you read the book, The Men's Are for Mars and Women's Are for Venus? I know it's
I, I heard about it a lot. I never read it, to be honest.
I read it because the name was very cheesy.
Yeah,
Like, okay, the men's are for Mars and women's are for Venus and things like that. But I did read it. And one of the parts in that book that I still remember that was a long time ago, it was that men always try to fix the other person.
yeah,
They're looking for solutions for whatever problem they're having.
yeah.
And women, we are the placeholders. We do not, we just open the space, we listen. So that's why when women we get together, everybody's talking about their problems and everybody's listening and trying to just hold the space for them.
And men, they don't do that. Like they don't talk about their problems. Like, and sometimes, obviously, but it's very rare that like they get together. Let's talk about our problem. It's like that's. I don't think that will happen. So
When they do, basically when they talk about their problems to another man is okay, I need a solution.
yeah,
And the man is
solution. Yeah,
the solution. And something for our viewers, when you're looking for a solution for a conversation, you're not fully present because you're thinking what I'm
yeah.
gonna do next, what is the next. So you're not really listening to all the conversation they're having.
So true.
So yes, I still recommend that book, even it was very cheesy name, that it was very old, and it's a very old book, it's from the
It
60s.
is. Yeah, it is. It is an old one. Yeah.
But it is important to understand where the difference between how we interact with each other. And I'm not going to say only that the males, because we carry male energy in ourselves.
Yeah.
Like males also carry female energy in
Yeah.
themselves. So the male energy is the one that are always trying to fix things
Yeah.
in everybody. So that's very, very interesting. So I would like to know, how do you walk me through, how do you work with a client that they say, okay, I want to hold space for or organize my thoughts or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously there's a for me is the one-on-one, meetings are the best when I'm holding space for them. And although we can do it in like smaller group as well, it really works. But I wouldn't like work with more than like two, three people to like, two extra, three, four people together. And so we have obviously, I set an intention for the whole meeting and I invite them to let's start this, this thinking session. But let's super clear about like what are the thoughts that we're going to come with and bring to these sessions. And what they can do is like they can close their eyes, they can open their eyes, they can journal. And I think that that actually really works, even for me and for other people, while we're on the call and we are doing the silent session, that we can journal. Like you journal your thoughts, you write down, you jot down your thoughts. And I think that's really important. So you can go back to them. What went through your mind during a session? It's usually half an hour, so you have plenty of time to do that. There are some other creative minds and they love to doodle during the session, so you can totally do that too, because for some people art and thinking it's really connected, so they can do that. And as I said, this usually lasts for 30 minutes, and at the end of each session I invite them to, if they want to share something, they are, I love to hear that. I'm really open to receive that. But this is, as I mentioned before, it's a non-judgmental place. I'm not there for giving them advice or anything at all. I'm the space holder. So they can just take their notes away and then basically that's it. That's a silent thinking session. And you just go through all these thoughts that you didn't have to do that before. And then you can repeat that like every week. And I'm also like, I didn't have that before, but like if there's an in-person request, I can do that as well, which is interesting. I can travel somewhere and we can do in-person silent thinking sessions for people, but that's a different story. So for me is like mostly virtual. Everything is virtual right now on Zoom, of course.
Yes, our world repeats, right?
Yeah, it's everything based on it, like, recording interviews, yeah, holding silent thinking sessions, everything is Zoom related.
It opened up to the world.
Yeah,
Mm, that was the good thing about it.
yeah.
But
New Mexico and Cyprus together. Like, yeah, I mean, otherwise we couldn't have done that.
yes, exactly. And tell me also about I do have clients that do have PTSD.
Yeah,
And I know trauma, sometimes relieving the trauma, it is painful.
it is.
So, but at the same time, they're still there because they go back home, they're thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about the same situation, the same thing that traumatized them.
Yeah,
They have nightmares, they have this, they have that, so they cannot they cannot work, they cannot have a normal life.
yeah.
How do you how do you work with them in the silent meditation? Because they already have that silent, but not silent, because obviously their head is always busy. And that's why I know clients that they have lose jobs or they have lose relationships, etc.,
Yeah.
because of this problem.
Yeah, I think the most important thing about working with people with PTSD is that they are lonely. They're inside, like they have a whole different, very closed off world from us. And with most of the people, they maybe they live in, they have a spouse, they have a partner, they have someone, but they are so closed off and they living in their basically in their heads, and they really lonely. I think that's the biggest problem. But so they don't have anyone just to support them and just be silently for them without giving advice, without pressuring them, without asking questions, without anything at all, just being there for them. I think even the presence, and then I think the energy comes in because we all have certain energy. I mean, we learned so much about that. I know you talked a lot about it during your podcast interviews, that it's all about energy. So if someone comes to us with a higher frequential energy, and we are sit together for half an hour, we can feel that. And it doesn't matter that you are in the US, I'm in Cyprus, or you are in different parts of the world. Energy travels. And when you have someone with that kind of positive energy and higher frequency energy with you presence, I mean, that makes a huge difference even for them. And then being present with them, of course, it really supports them.
That is good. That's a good one to try it out, guys. If you have been PTSD or someone in this of your family or someone that you know that is actually in that support, Noemi is doing that kind of therapy sessions about silent sessions. Sometimes we do need that. We do need that completely. That too, because from the silence, that's where we can create the solutions that we're looking for at the end, and not letting our ego run our car that is our body. And
Yeah,
many of them is the one running the show.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Noemi, and tell me, how do you work with podcasters too? That's the other side business that you have. That
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, yeah, and I love doing that, and it's still going strong, fortunately. So we help entrepreneurs and business owners to get on quality podcast shows, like yours, and we've been working with them for years. And it's again, it's like being a connector in the podcasting world, in the matchmaking service, basically like in the dating world. But we get together the client, the guest, and the host. That's what we do, in the past 5 years. And, it brings me so much joy because I love connecting with people, and I love connecting people to each other. And because it makes a difference in the world. It's not just about podcast marketing, but it's really about making those, important connections and making those relationships, friendship, business relationships work for the future. Not just about being a guest on a podcast and share your interview once on LinkedIn, but it's so much more. It goes so much deeper than that.
yes, people do not understand that. The more, because I know many healers and coaches that they have never been in camera
Yeah,
and they're very afraid of the camera. And it is easier when someone is actually asking you questions and so forth, and so you can have a normal conversations like we're having right now.
yeah, so
And
true.
it's easy that you go into the camera and okay, what I'm gonna talk, and try to talk whatever you can, and that is more difficult than actually having a conversation with another podcaster, because that's what it is
Yeah,
in reality. And or else how our clients are gonna know that we exist in this world, or like right now that you're doing the silent um, sessions with people. If you don't come out to a podcast, it is going to be very difficult. You can write it down in your social media, but only the
yes,
people that are following you and only the people, according to the algorithms that are seeing you,
Yes.
know the ones that are going to find out about it.
Right, right. It's just the power of like podcasting, and I think it's just getting more and more important in the last couple of years, and it's still booming. So it's still becoming more and more important, and people use it like in a different way than they used to do it. And I think it's just you just needs to be aligned with your message, and you need to come with a clear message for whatever podcast you come to, and the story, of course, because people align with your story so much better than you just doing a promotion about your services. Because like I said, for example, I talked about like my struggles, my anxiety, what I went through is, and why I came up with this idea. It aligns with people so much easier than if you were just to promote something and, oh yeah, you can book a service with me or whatever. So it's like you need to go a little bit deeper and being more open and vulnerable about your life and about your story, because that's what works, and that's how you can help people. And I think that's the whole point. It's not just about promoting your service, but helping people, sharing your knowledge and sharing your story.
That is so true because coaches and healers, in a way, we are humans. Everybody's
Yeah,
human. So we're going to be passing through our ups and downs.
yeah,
We show that vulnerability in camera about how we learn to navigate in this world, or how do we decided to come to a different conclusion that we had before in our lives.
yeah.
Sometimes
So
that's what
true.
everyone is needing to hear that part. So you can say, hey, I can do that.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And because I want to try myself on the other side of the mic too. And I'm going to start a podcast about like ASMR style, like reading sessions for people. I'm sure you know what ASMR, and it's like it's really calming, soothing voices and different sound effects and everything that helps people with PTSD, depression, anxiety, and it really helps, like it really connects to what I do. So I just kind of want to start something new and something unique in the podcasting world. I might do some interviews too, because I have so many people I know, and I would love to have them guests on the show. But then yeah, I just wanted to try something new that is different, and it's going to be the Silent Thinking podcast, obviously, that comes from the name, from the brand name.
I like it. It sounds catchy, interesting, and it piques the curiosity of the people.
Yes.
Mainly because it's like, how is she doing that? How she's doing sessions in silence. So yes, that's gonna pique the curiosity at least. And that's why the podcast helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because with the podcast you can the people can understand more and get more into your energy, not only doing a post in social.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that part is very important. And I'm happy that you started that the silent therapy, but how do you at the same time learn how to differentiate between your ego that is invading your thoughts, and how do you understand when it is actually your higher self, or what ideas you're having that you need to organize and your ego's involved?
Wow, that's a deep question. So it just kind of find, I think, the harmony like in everything else in life. And I'm just trying to figure that out. Like I do a lot of things, but obviously everything is intertwined in my life. And it's not like we are three different persons because you do three, four different things, but it's like as long as I serve people, and for me, that's the higher, that's my higher power, that I want to serve, I want to help, and in any way I can. And it's for me so uplifting and refreshing. And it's business is not just about making money. Obviously, we all pay our bills and everything, but just doing something for our highest good and helping and serving people. It's for me, it's really important. I'm also part of. I always give a shout out to them of Bob Berg's Go Giver community, and I learned a lot about like how to about gratitude, about being thankful for things, and the way I lead business and life is basically it's always about being a go-giver and being a go-giver in life and business and personal life as well. I think it's really important, not a go-taker. Yeah.
That is important.
Yes.
And being grateful, like you mentioned, the people do not understand the power of gratefulness.
No,
It was
no.
really far, far away.
And not just about like, in the morning you say like three affirmations that what I'm grateful for. Yes, that works too, obviously, but it has a deeper meaning, and you just really have to practice that in order to really accept it, and I don't know, just understand it, because it became really fashionable to do these things like meditation, affirmations, and we just, you know, but you need to learn a bit more of them to understand them really, how meaningful they are in our lives.
Yes, with affirmations, I have an issue with them because you don't feel, let's say, you say, I am worthy.
Yeah.
If there's an issue, a trauma, or something inside of you that doesn't feel that,
Mm,
reason that happened when you were 3 years old, 5 years old, whatever it
yeah.
is. So it's gonna be showing up because your subconscious, it is in your subconscious already.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many times you do the affirmations, I am worthy, I am worthy. It's not gonna work until you actually work the trauma that you had when whatever age you were.
Yeah.
So the affirmations are not so helpful. But if when we start being grateful for whatever happens, oh, I have a
Yeah.
wonderful day today, or hey, I can fix this problem that I had a long time without trying to thinking how I'm going
Yeah.
to find a solution, and you finally find it and says thank you for this, or thank you for your body, or thank you for that. You're
Yeah.
gonna receive more of what you're grateful for.
Absolutely. And I love that. And I have this kind of like little evening magic that I'm doing every evening, that I have a gratitude stone. And my late dad found this on one of the beaches of Cyprus, and I have it on my nightstand next to me. So every evening before I turn off the light to go to sleep, I hold that stone, and I just say just one thing, just one thing. I'm not journaling. I don't like journaling. It's like, sorry, I'm not I'm not into journaling. So I but for me, this gratitude stone means so much. So I just hold it in my hand every evening and I say, okay, I'm grateful for this specific thing. And it's always positive, obviously. And then I go to sleep. And even when you have to set the intention that, like, oh my God, I was grateful for this, you don't go to sleep and you are just too stressed or angry or anything like that, but like finishing your day, or just right before you go to sleep, something positive, even if just tiniest thing, that like, I had a great chat with my son today and I'm just so grateful for that. Or today there were some clouds in the sky in Cyprus during summer. I'm just so grateful because the weather was cooler. It doesn't have to be something overwhelming, something great. It's just important that, like, that's at least one thing, that even when you're overwhelmed, and even when like life looks like it just, you're not getting anywhere with your life, and there's everything is just too much, there's always just one tiny tiny thing that you can be grateful for. And it can be just a cold water from the tap, and I'm grateful for, because there are countries in the world they don't have that. So just something tiny, and then that will even set like a better intention just to go to sleep and feeling better after that. So that's my own little trick that I do every evening. And I wouldn't say trick, but like trick my mind to a positive mindset, to a higher frequency. But it's like kind of like a ritual. Every evening I do that.
That is a good tip. Having a something that you direct the energy to something
Yeah,
like a stone. You were
yeah,
saying that is beautiful. That is a good tip that anyone can find a thing, whatever you want to hang, and you can use it as that. That is
yeah.
a great idea.
Thank you.
So there is a conversation or a nonverbal conversation that you have with one of your clients that they're passing for a big trauma, or just sit down next to them and don't say nothing, or you try to guide them into a stillness or something.
Yeah, it's like, always ask them like before the session that please come at least two, three things that you want to go through in your own head. And when I had my last, group session, and it was amazing because these were my friends. They really supported me, and I never tried group session before. So that was a really great experience with women that I trust, like, and I really appreciate. And one of my friends during that group session told me that it's what it helped them with. It was like floating in the ocean. When you just like floating in the sea and you can feel your head in the water and your ears and everything. And it was something like she felt really safe. She felt really supported, and she was free to receive whatever came to her. So I think that was really beautiful. And everybody really talked about like it's how like when we together and then we set the intention for the silent thinking session, the energy shifts. So you just like you're like, okay, so let's do this. And everybody started to came up with great ideas. Even they shared them afterwards, but because we are friends. So they shared it with the group, like came up with a new idea for my business. And I didn't know that, like where did that come from? Because we just set an intention and we had a dedicated time for something that we never do and we never try. And that was really, it was really eye-opening for me, the feedback I got. And it was kind of like all this downloading they just started for them from somewhere and open up their mind, open up their thoughts. So it was really, really fascinating and interesting to see what they went through. And obviously they were really honest with me and really supportive, and I appreciated that. But it was really eye-opening that like just a simple thing, just to sit down in silence and think for 30 minutes can change things around and can shift the energy.
That is so true. That is so true because also quantum physics talks about it, that about the observer, that when we observe an object or a thing, it change. That's
Yeah.
what quantum physics. So
Yes.
we're observing the problem in a way. We are changing the problem at the same time, and the problem
Yeah.
is minimizing or finding solutions for the problem that we're having. Because now you're making time to observe it,
Yeah.
so it can be transformed.
And you can always start small. Like, if you can even try it at home just to give it a try. And maybe you just sit down with a cup of tea. I'm not saying coffee because that doesn't help. Like when you have to sit down, you become too jittery or whatever. Or put away your phone for at least 10 minutes. Turn off the notifications and just. It's not meditating, so it's not about meditation. It's because meditation is about clearing your mind. This is not. You just sit down with your thoughts and you can go for a walk, but with no music. No, I love music when I'm walking. I'm a walker, so I always love listening to music or audiobooks or podcasts. But at this time, try something different, like at least for 10 minutes, nothing, no interruption, nothing, no distraction from the outside world. Just you, your thoughts, the nature, and you walk. And not clearing your mind, just going through things that you couldn't process, for example, during the day because of work, because your family, because of everything going around you in the world. And just tiny tips, just tiny, just small steps. I think the small steps approach like really works in every area of life. So you can try that with silent thinking even at home, to give it a try and to see how it works for you.
Yes, that is a good tip. Thank you so much, Noemi. And do you have groups right now that you're organizing for this? So like a
It's right now. It's the most of the people they end up on a wait list. When they apply, to be part of the silent thinking sessions. That's how we start. So you end up on a wait list, and then you will receive a quiz where you can. Obviously, I want to know more about my clients. About their habits, like or how do they do things or how they process things in their life. And once I have all that information, then I can organize the silent thinking for session for them. I think that's how it usually operates, and even for groups as well.
well, the information on Noemi is gonna be down below this the description of this podcast, this episode, so like that you can get a hold of her and you wanna get in her list. So like that you can help them out with that.
Yeah.
So, do you have something else that you would like to add, Noemi, before we close?
Yeah, I think that silence is just so important in our life. And it's just let give us permission to sometimes just being silent. And on the other hand, if you have someone who suffers from PTSD, from depression, trauma, anything, the best way to support them most of the time to not to say things and not to fix things for them. And to learn this, it's really important. And it's the same with grief. Like you have someone who's grieving and you don't want to, just fix things for them because they have to go through that grieving process. And I think maybe silent thinking sessions are also great for people who are grieving because it's connected again. Like you deserve that time for yourself and for your thoughts, and you being safe with your thoughts is really important. That you are, yeah, being safe with your thoughts, then and being just together with your thoughts in a calm, supported way.
So beautiful. Well, for you guys, our viewers, I just wanted to tell you that if this helped you, this podcast, this episode help you, please share it with your friends. Put us in the comments. What are your opinions about it? Have you tried this silence therapy? Have you done that? Write it down in your comments. We will appreciate that very much. Don't forget to give us a like and share with your friends and comment. Thank you for supporting us. This is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love, and thank you for being in Soul Talk.